Hey YouTube, it's Jacob here, and we're bringing you another one. So, we are live again. But now, we're talking about Wednesday. That's all I have to say in the whole stream. Wednesday is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Like, shockingly. Like, I didn't even know it was going to be that good. Like, so anyway, we're going to get into it. As you can see right here, no spoiler review. So we're not going to spoil it. I'm going to do this everything, the best of my ability to give it to you without spoiling anything, okay? So I'm very particular on the images I choose, how I explain things, just putting that out there for you, okay? Before we get started, as you guys may know, I have my baby book ready for pre-order, okay? But don't expect it for the holidays because it won't be ready by then. However, you can order the coloring book now, and I think within this week, if you order it, you'll get it by the time the end of the year and before the holidays. So I would definitely look into that. You can either go to jcutt.com or you can go to my Etsy shop and get not only that, but you can get things like this shirt here, things like this mug where I am drinking coffee because I'm dead. Okay, I am dead. And there's a lot of other fun stuff on the Etsy shop. Okay, now, if you haven't already, let me do it like this. Boom, boom. Because, you know, I'm still getting used to the cards. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, push that notification button because we're going to keep bringing this stuff to you. So let's get started. I'm looking over here because I made a list just so everything's a little bit clear. So first I want to talk about the vibes. Okay, so it's giving Harry Potter meets Scooby-Doo meets Sherlock Holmes. It really feels like that. Obviously meets Addams Family. It has this like, you know, mystery, you know, trying to figure out the villain type of vibe throughout the whole thing. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But I really like that aesthetic, that feeling by it. It's on Netflix, which I think probably was the best choice because it could be a little bit darker. Like if it was on Hulu, I don't think it could be like that dark or something like that. But on Netflix, it was able to be a lot darker than we are used to seeing the Addams Family. So let's see. Okay, that's the Netflix one. Okay, here we go. So, which brings me to the main character, Wednesday, played by Gina Ortega. I don't know where she's. I don't know if she's on like Nickelodeon or something. I don't know what she's famous for, but she killed this role. And we've seen a few other Wednesdays in history, but this particular Wednesday feels like the best one because she was a little bit older in age, and then just a little bit edgier, a little bit darker. And what I realized with this is that in my mind, the whole family is like her. But then you realize, no. This is Wednesday. Like, this is how Wednesday is. Addams Family, yes, they're weird and they're quirky and all these things. But Wednesday is how she is. It's not the whole family. So that really helped me it reminded me the type of mindset that she has. Okay? So, that brings me to the family. Okay? Now, I ain't get everybody's names. Y'all know I ain't really good with the names and all that. But I will say, the mom, really, really, really good. I forgot her name. Christina or something. Anyway, I like her. Obviously, Wednesday. I'm trying to be here. Wednesday. The dad, like, he was good. Like, he played well. But I felt like they needed somebody a little bit more suave, like the one we all remember. I just feel like he wasn't really suave enough. And as much as I actually really liked the brother, I liked him, but I felt he was just a little bit kinder, but I liked him. So it was a good family, but Wednesday is why you're watching it. That's why it's called Wednesday. It all makes sense. Which brings me to another family member, and that is Thing. I almost didn't want to show Thing because I didn't realize how much Thing was going to be a part of the story. So it was a shock when he was introduced. So I almost didn't want to show it, but because he's so much in the story, it's not really a spoiler. Wednesday might be second to Thing. Thing is probably the best part of this show. Like, one, how because he doesn't speak, so but hands are so expressive that he's alive. So it's really, really fun to watch Thing. Thing is really the best part of this. Also, I think from what I saw in the image, it seems like the real actor was all in blue screen up to here, but then they modeled the rest of the hand. See how it has, like, you can't see it, but the top, like the top of his wrist in the character was really designed up here. From what I saw in the pictures, which makes a lot more sense because I was trying to figure it out the whole time. Like, how are they doing some of these shots? But anyway, Thing is the best part of this. Now let's bring on to some other characters, which I'm not going to get too deep into, but we're going to talk about the friends. Really good friend. I can only say but so much about the people because it's going to give too much away. But I'll say they did really well with the acting. Everything felt believable. Like, nothing felt like acting. I hate when I can feel that you're acting. Nothing felt like that. Everybody felt like they were in this world that Tim Burton created. We'll talk about Tim Burton a little bit later. But it felt like this world that Tim Burton has made and that they're all in. It didn't feel forced or faked. It was really, really good. And I think that the friends played a really good role in that, which kind of brings me to the villain. We're not going to talk about the villain because that'll give it away. But all I can say is, just like I said, it's like a Sherlock Holmes meets Scooby-Doo. It has that, like, you think you know who it is, and then it's not, and then you think you know, and then it's not, and then maybe you might be like, oh yeah, it's obvious it's this person, and then it might be. Because I had that moment, like, one moment I think it's this person, but by the time I was like, oh, it's obviously blah, it was blah. But that's me, because I'm really like, I be really, figuring it out. But that's all I can say. I ain't saying nothing else about the villain or anything like that. But what I do want to talk about is, the message, which this image probably has nothing to do with. Well, I guess it kind of does in some way. Anyway, I like to give it a little sentence on what I think the message is without giving too much away. Know when you're being loved and accept it. I almost kept the meaning of the Black Panther here, because the Black Panther meaning that I put was communication is key if they will listen. And I was about to put communication is key if you will listen. That's what I was going to put here. But that's like a little bit of a message, but I think the deeper message is know when you're being loved and accept it. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I'm not trying to get nothing away. Moving on, cinematography. So, which brings me to Tim Burton a little bit. And then we're going to start talking about his vision, because that will also bring me into the world design. But let's talk about the cinematography in general. There's another movie I'm going to be reviewing this week. Oh gosh, what is it? Slumberland. I watched it. It was really good, but we'll talk about it. I don't know what day, but someday this week we'll talk about it. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because I was going to talk about the hyper real. So hyper real is like, all right, there's real, like realism and things that look real. But hyper real is like too real. Like, it almost looks extra real. Like multiple realness. Like, it's like, this is the color, it's up here. This is the dark, it's like here. It's like it's extra. So I think Slumberland is more of that than this is. Like, this still has a little bit of the fantasy side of things, but there's a little bit of hyper real in this where it's almost too real, which makes it even more fake, which makes it even more creepy. So I really like about the lighting and all the set designs and the cinematography. But it brings me to the world design, which brings me to Tim Burton. Tim Burton has a very unique style that I did not see in this movie, in the show. I did not see it here. Because here's my thing. Tim Burton has a certain, just a look, a style that we all cannot like recognize. Like, you can point and say, "Oh, that's Tim Burton's style." I didn't even know Tim Burton did, and of course it is. When you know it's Tim Burton, yeah, you realize like it is dark, it is whimsical. It makes sense that it's Tim Burton. But what I'm saying is, it had a different feeling, which allowed me to kind of accept the show as a show as opposed to written by or made by or directed by Tim Burton. The other thing about this is that none of the characters that Tim Burton always uses, which I love, is in this. So even though I love all the characters he uses a lot, but because I love them, I'm always looking for them. But because none of them, or as far as I know, were in here, you were able to just take it in. And it was a lot of new actors and new people. So you're able to just take it in as it is, as opposed to relying on these famous big name people that we know so much. So Tim Burton did a really good job with this. And like I said, I'm not dissing Tim Burton. I'm a fan of all of the stuff he does. But I also recognize he has a style. And this, I didn't feel it here. And I appreciate that. So we talked about Tim Burton. Here's a picture of him. That's what I was supposed to bring up as I was talking about him, but I did not. Anyway, moving on. So now we're going to talk about the costume designs. It's not like that amazing. I just do like the fact that for Wednesday, you'll notice she's always wearing black and white. And I love that. Like, and she has a lot of different costume changes throughout the whole series. It's always black and white or just all black. I love that. Like that takes some thought. How do we make it consistent with what everyone else is wearing, but yet make it black? Like the school has a uniform. She still has to wear a uniform, but it's black. And no one fights her about it. You know, they just like, well, that's what she wears. Like, I really love that. But I do want to bring up the principal. Let's go to the picture. Let me tell you something about this woman. When I tell you, she is killing. And the whole time, like, what do I know her off of? She's on the Dream movie. Sandman. She's on Sandman. And I didn't watch Game of Thrones, but I heard she's on there, or one of those Viking movies. I'm not really into all the Dungeon and Dragon type movies. She not only did a phenomenal job, but look at this. Look at her outfits. Like, and this is just one outfit. The costume design for her hair, she's giving it throughout the whole situation. Now that brings me to a thing I didn't know until like this weekend. I was talking to a friend. The original, well, not the original, because I think there's the first one, and then she came second. I'm not sure. But one of the one that we know the most, Wednesday, is in it. She's right here. Oh gosh, this is so hard. Right here in the movie. And so there's a lot of like, I know this character. Like as you're watching things, there's a lot of like, she looks so familiar. I felt that. I'm like, she seems so familiar, but I couldn't pick it up. Now I can't unsee it. That's the original Wednesday. She plays a pretty good part inside of inside of the show. I keep saying the movie because Netflix, one thing I love about Netflix is their shows have movie quality a lot of the times. And it's felt like movie quality. I'm not saying this should have been in a movie theater if it was like a movie, but I admire the fact that it had the cinematography and the acting and the music core soundtrack throughout the entire thing like a movie would be. So that's why I keep saying a movie. But the show, she was in it pretty well and she did a really good, fantastic job. I just didn't realize it was her. So that was exciting to see. Will there be a season 2? I don't know. I tried to look it up to see. I'm hearing it's breaking records. If it's breaking records, it's going to be a season 2. I mean, if you think about, oh gosh, what was the show? What's the people? They was killing people. Squid Game, which was phenomenal. He wasn't planning on making a season 2 because he didn't think it was going to do what it did. It took off. The whole world's talking about it. Then he was like, well, I guess I gotta make a season 2. So I don't know if they already planned on making it or not, but if they didn't plan on making it, they're gonna make one now because there will probably be a season 2 and I will be watching it until it ends. And what's the conclusion? It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal, y'all. Like, you know, Addams Family is one of those things where like, in my mind, I don't care about it. Like in my mind, I don't really care about it. But then when I look back at the track record of how much I watched, I'm like, oh, I guess I might be a little fan because I've seen all the animations, like the animated movies, the first and second one, which was really good. I've seen some of the cartoons back in the day. I've seen the live action ones. I've seen everything. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'm more of a fan than I realized. And this reminded me why I like the family so much, because they're not evil. They're just dark. Like, I mean, they're kind of evil, but they're not like bad people. They're just a really creepy, dark family. And she will remind you of that throughout this show. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But I really loved it. I'm going to be going live again this week. I'm not really sure exactly. I want to go to tomorrow. I'm just not sure, but I am going to be doing lives a lot more because they're fun. They're a little bit easier for me because I don't have to edit, and editing takes time, and I ain't got none of that. So this is just one of the things where I'm trying to get used to it, get better with the cards, but don't worry, it's going to get smoother. If you haven't already, I almost deleted the thing on thing. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, push that notification button, because we're going to keep bringing this stuff to you. That's it. What are you doing? I know you're not about to leave. It's mad buttons down there. You ain't pushed on one of them. You better subscribe to my channel. See you soon. Yes,